You just ate lunch an hour ago, a solid meal, chicken, rice, vegetables. You're technically not hungry, and yet, your hand is already reaching for the chips, or the cookies, or the chocolate bar you forgot was in your desk drawer. Here's what nobody tells you. That's not weakness. That's neuroscience. Your brain is running a program it built thousands of years ago, and that program is working perfectly. The problem is, it wasn't designed for a world with Doritos and Oreos. It was designed for a world where finding something sweet or salty meant you probably survived another week. So today, we are going inside your brain, and I mean deep inside, to find out exactly why it screams for junk food and treats your beautiful organic salad like background noise. Stay with me, because what you learn in the next 10 minutes will completely change the way you think about every craving you've ever had. Let's start with the villain of this story. Or really, the hero that got corrupted. Dopamine. You've heard of it. Most people call it the pleasure chemical, but that's not quite right. Dopamine isn't actually about pleasure, it's about anticipation. It's about wanting. It's the chemical your brain releases right before you get something good, not after. And this distinction? It's everything. Here's how it works in a normal, ancient human scenario. You're walking through a forest. You smell something sweet. Your brain fires dopamine. You feel a surge of motivation. Go find that food. Go get it. Go. You track it down. You eat it. The dopamine drops. You feel satisfied. Simple. Elegant. Effective. Now here's what happens when you see a bag of Lay's potato chips. The second you see the bag, the bright colors, the shiny packaging, your brain fires dopamine. Then you open it and smell it. Another dopamine hit. Then the crunch, dopamine. Then the salt hits your tongue, dopamine. Then the fat coats your mouth, dopamine. Food scientists and manufacturers know this. They've spent billions of dollars reverse engineering your reward system. They've created what researchers call hyper-palatable foods. Foods engineered to hit your dopamine system at every single stage of eating, not just once. A plain boiled sweet potato, one dopamine signal. A Pringle? It's been calculated and designed to deliver the precise balance of salt, fat, and starch that keeps your dopamine system firing on a loop, which is exactly why no one eats just one. This isn't a coincidence. This was a business decision. And your brain, brilliant, ancient, well-meaning, has absolutely no defense against it, because it was never supposed to need one. Now, there's a second reason your brain is betraying you, and it has nothing to do with taste. It actually happens before you even touch the food. We'll get to that in just a second. But first, in the 1970s, a scientist named Howard Moskowitz was hired by food companies to figure out the perfect amount of sugar to put in a product. He ran test after test, and what he discovered changed the food industry forever. He found that there was a specific point, a peak, where a food's appeal maxed out. Add too little sugar, people don't love it. Add too much, it becomes cloying, and people stop eating. But right in the middle, he called it the Bliss Point. And once companies figured out they could calculate the exact ratio of salt, sugar, and fat to maximize cravings, they never looked back. Here's where it gets even more sinister. The Bliss Point isn't just about taste. It's about what researchers call sensory-specific satiety. This is your brain's natural off switch. When you eat one flavor long enough, your brain gets bored and tells you to stop. Junk food is specifically engineered to never trigger this switch. Doritos don't taste like corn. They don't taste like cheese. They taste like Doritos, a flavor that doesn't exist in nature, a flavor your brain can't categorize or get full from, so it just keeps eating, waiting for satisfaction that never fully comes. Meanwhile, a bowl of lentil soup? It tastes like lentils. Your brain knows exactly what it is. Sensory-specific satiety kicks in. You eat a portion. You stop. The organic meal actually works the way food is supposed to work, but to a dopamine-trained brain, it feels flat, boring, unsatisfying. Not because it is, but because your brain has been recalibrated to expect a fireworks show. Real quick, if you're finding this stuff as mind-blowing as I did when I first learned it, hit that subscribe button right now. Every week I break down the science behind why your body and brain do what they do. And more importantly, what you can actually do about it. New video every Thursday. Hit subscribe. Let's keep going. Let's talk about something most nutrition videos completely skip over. Why do you reach for junk food specifically when you're stressed? It's not just habit, it's biochemistry. When you're stressed, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is your ancient alarm system. It tells your body, danger is here, resources might disappear, store everything you can. And what does cortisol trigger cravings for? High fat, high sugar, high calorie foods. Because in a survival situation, those are the foods that keep you alive the longest. Your body doesn't know you're stressed about a work email. It thinks you're about to outrun a predator or survive a famine. But here's the really interesting part. When you eat sugar and fat under stress, your brain releases opioids. Yes, your brain has its own opiate system, and comfort foods activate it. They literally reduce the feeling of stress, anxiety, and emotional pain in the short term. This is why emotional eating isn't a character flaw. It's a physiological response to a brain that has learned that certain foods provide fast, reliable emotional relief. And what does kale provide under stress? Nothing your brain recognizes as a reward. No dopamine spike. No opioid release. Just nutrients, which again are actually what you need. But your brain is not making rational decisions in a cortisol state. It's making survival decisions. So every time you beat yourself up for stress eating, I need you to hear this. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are a human being with a brain that is doing exactly what brains have been doing for 200,000 years. The question is, can you work with your brain instead of against it? And yes, you absolutely can. And we'll get into that. But first, there's one more layer to this. And this one I genuinely think is the most underrated reason people can't stop craving junk food. It's not about your brain chemistry. It's not about stress. It's about something that happens in your gut. Stay with me. This is the part that absolutely blew my mind. You have approximately 38 trillion bacteria living in your gut right now. And those bacteria, they're not just sitting there. They are actively communicating with your brain through something called the gut-brain axis, a direct highway of nerves, hormones, and chemical signals that runs from your intestines straight to your brain. And here's the kicker. Different bacteria prefer different foods. The bacteria that thrive on sugar and processed food, they send chemical signals to your brain that increase cravings for more sugar and processed food. They are literally lobbying your brain on their own behalf. A 2017 study published in the journal Bioessays suggested that gut microbes may influence human eating behavior by producing neurotransmitters and compounds that shape our food preferences and mood. In other words, when you've been eating junk food for a while, you've built a gut community that is addicted to junk food. And that community is influencing your cravings from the inside. This is also why switching to healthy eating feels so brutal in the first 1 to 2 weeks. You're not just changing your diet. You're changing the ecosystem inside your body. The old bacteria are dying off and sending distress signals. The new, fiber-loving, vegetable-friendly bacteria need time to grow. The cravings you feel in that transition period, that's withdrawal, literally. But here's the good news. Your microbiome can shift meaningfully in as little as 72 hours of dietary change. Within weeks, your gut community and your cravings begin to change. Your brain starts to want different things, not because you have more willpower, because you changed what's talking to your brain. I want to hear from you right now. Drop a comment below. What's your biggest junk food weakness? Mine used to be salt and vinegar chips. I could not stop, and now I understand exactly why. Comment below. Let's talk about it. And while you're down there, if you found this video useful, smash that like button. It genuinely helps more people find this content. Alright, you now understand your brain better than most people ever will. So let's talk about what you can actually do with this information. Because knowing why something happens is only useful if it changes how you act. Your brain craves novelty and sensory stimulation. So stop eating plain, boring, healthy food and wondering why it doesn't satisfy you. Add flavor. Add crunch. Add color. Roast your vegetables until they caramelize. Add seasoning. Make your plate visually exciting. Your dopamine system responds to presentation and variety. Use that. Because dopamine is about anticipation. Simply creating a pause between your craving and your action disrupts the loop. Research shows that even a 10-minute delay reduces the likelihood of giving into a craving by up to 50%. You don't need to resist forever. Just for 10 minutes, drink water, walk around. The craving will peak and fall. Every day, eat at least one thing that feeds the good bacteria in your gut. Fermented foods like yogurt, kimchi, and kefir. High-fiber foods like oats, beans, and berries. The faster your gut community shifts, the faster your cravings shift. This is the long game, and it works. Calling food bad and yourself weak for eating it activates shame, and shame activates cortisol, and cortisol activates cravings. It's a cycle that feeds itself. When you eat junk food, notice it without judgment. Get curious about it. And then make your next choice from a place of self-knowledge, not self-punishment. Here's the truth. Your brain is not your enemy. It is an incredibly sophisticated survival machine operating in an environment it was never designed for. One where the most dangerous thing in your vicinity is a vending machine instead of a predator. Once you understand that, everything changes. You stop fighting yourself and start working with the machinery you've got. If you want to go even deeper on this, I made a video on exactly how to reset your dopamine baseline, how to stop needing stimulation and actually enjoy simple things again, including simple food. I'll link it right here. And honestly, if this video resonated with you, that one will hit even harder. Go watch it, and I'll see you there.